All right. Look at this new picture, this new framing. Oh man, it's so close. When I look down at this screen, you're really gonna see my eyes moving. But oh well, doesn't it look nice? A little tighter, a little more. You see that bokeh, that blurriness in the back. It's a good one. It's an exciting day, guys. If you didn't know, if you're not a CrossFit nerd, the CrossFit Games season starts today. So it's the first stage of the CrossFit Games, the Worldwide Open. It's where everybody gets a chance to play, chance to see how you stack up against the rest of the world. And it's it's an exciting day. So more on that to come. But first, let's do our little weekly review here. So in class, our principle of the week has been the human body needs access to its full physical potential in order to survive and thrive. What the flip does that mean? So we need access to what the body is designed to be able to do. So the really easy way to understand this is we can look at the human body, look at the joints and structure of the body, and it's organized in a certain way that's the same across the board. It's the same for everyone. Everyone's got the same joints, the same muscles, the same tendons, ligaments, everything connecting it all together. And so that organization has a potential for certain movement patterns. And in a perfect world, we would have full access to all these positions that allow us to do something productive, to have function, right? So when we talk about the definition of fitness, okay, the work capacity across broad time and modal domains. Okay, there's a kind of a sub definition that CrossFit likes to use, that is move large loads long distances quickly, right? So how we express that fitness is generally summed up by that, right? So in order to move a large load from the ground up off of the ground, we see the positions such as the deadlift, okay? When we want to press something overhead, okay, we see the positions like an overhead press. When we want to take something from the ground to overhead, we see something like a clean and a jerk. Press something away from the body, a bench press, right? When we want to move our body quickly, we see the positions of running. And all these different movement patterns have, they're an expression of what this body, what this human figure is made to do. Now, let's contrast that to different, maybe more specialized creatures. So you look at different type of wild cats that can run extremely fast, and they have a different structure that is more capable of doing that. But what can a cat not do? Well, it cannot carry very much weight, right? It can't really pick much up. So just one example of, okay, like we can tell a lot about what a creature is intended to do, like by its parts, right? We could go way deeper into that. But as far as human physiology and expression of function and movement, and we're talking about this in the kind of physical realm, we need access to our full physical potential. This is what we're talking about, right? So can we get into these positions? Do our joints go through the necessary range of motion in order to accomplish these certain tasks, right? So I mentioned the deadlift, right? So the question I posed today is, hey, can you, with your knees extended, can you reach down and touch your toes, right? So in that little test, that little assessment, we can see, hey, do you have this? So I'm going to use a big term here, lumbopelvic flexion, right? So this connection between your spine and your lower body at the hips, at the pelvis, where the spine connects in there, right? And then into your femurs and legs and all of that, surrounded by all of that musculature. Does that work in a way that allows you to bend over and touch your toes? Okay. It's something you've probably all done or tried to do. Maybe you can't all do it. We do that assessment and we can tell a few things, right? So we have this little rating system: green light, yellow light, red light, right? So green light would be you can touch the floor, touch your toes, and you don't have any pain, right? Keyword there. Don't have any pain. Yellow light would be, hey, you either have full range, but you have a little discomfort somewhere. We'll come back to that. Or the other way around, hey, you don't quite have full range, but there's no discomfort anywhere. You just kind of stop, right? More so the other one, but we'll come back to that. Red light would be you don't have full range and you have some discomfort somewhere, right? Possibly even pain. Now, depending on where that pain is, again, looking specifically at this movement pattern, and this is pretty applicable to many other joints as well, there's a lot of different reasons that could be, right? If you've got some discomfort through your low back, that's going to mean one thing. If you've got some discomfort through, the glutes or the hamstrings when you're doing that, that's another thing. If you've got like a tingly sensation behind your knees, well, that's a completely different thing, right? And there's many different reasons why you could be doing that. And so when we try to improve our access to that position that we should have, as this human body should be able to express itself in this way, is we want to go after gaining function, gaining range of motion. We got to know where we're aiming at, right? If you spend all this time working on length in your hamstrings, but the truth is, hey, your back is actually stiff and not mobile and weak, right? Like, we're wasting our time, right? So there's not, if you can't touch your toes, there's not a one size fits all answer to that. And we got to actually know, hey, what is the limiting factor here, right? So, here's another one, like going overhead, right? Being able to put your arm all the way overhead, carry load in that position. Funny enough, a lot of people have low back issues when they go overhead. Well, it's not necessarily an issue with your low back. Yes, there could be some just strength, some core stability, some core strength issue there. That would certainly help. I think most people can benefit from just having stronger midlines. But what's more likely is you're lacking some range overhead and you're compensating by extending your low back, right? To be able to balance that weight over your shoulder, over your hip, over your feet when you try to do that sort of thing. And so, it's really not a back issue primarily. It's primarily, hey, a range of motion issue through the shoulder. We got to improve that to relieve that pain in your back. Lots of other things we can talk about. So, movement we did this week, the snatch, the overhead squat, one of the most physically demanding movement patterns from toes to fingertips, right? Your wrists are involved, your elbows and your shoulders and your thoracic spine and your midline and your hips, knees, ankles, all of it is kind of taken essentially to end range in that movement pattern. And if an overhead squat is challenging for you, there are everything I just listed there could be like the lowest hanging fruit when we're trying to assess, hey, how can we improve this position? Just because your shoulders hurt when you do that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a problem there. It might be because, hey, your ankles don't move at all, so your upper body is having to take on a ton of that load, because it can't go elsewhere. A little analogy I like to use with people is the laws of a triangle, right? We understand, hey, if I have three sides of this shape and I change the angles, it's going to shift what happens at the other two, right? The same is true of a lot of these movement patterns. If we are missing range in one place and we're trying to still, hold a bar overhead or whatever it may be, it's got to come from somewhere else. Or, a squat's a great example of this. If I'm not getting range out of my ankle, well, guess what? It's going to put more demand on my hips and vice versa. So really digging down, there's not one size fits all answers to these things. There are things that are generally helpful for everybody, by all means. In a group class setting, we try to kind of touch on a lot of these things in a general sense. But if you've got really big glaring issues, there's probably a lowest hanging fruit. It's gonna you're gonna get the most bang for your buck in going after that one thing, for example. So that's enough on that. This principle is also reaching into some other stuff that we didn't talk about this week, and I'm going to save that for the next round this comes up, because I got multiple things to talk about today and got to keep it moving. So, like I said, being this is the start of the Open, it changes our weekly rhythms a little bit. Partially anticipating how we always do it is doing these workouts on Saturday, knowing that, hey, that's going to be a higher dose, a test on Saturday, where normally Saturdays are partner kind of more fun sort of thing. Plus, I don't know what it is until, a couple hours from now. So, over the course of the next couple of weeks, and we'll dig into it a little bit from this week, I don't want to do anything, especially in the second half of the week, that's going to leave you really sore from something. High volume of, one specific movement pattern it's going to leave you kind of wrecked. So lower volume overall, but then also movement patterns that aren't necessarily going to leave you sore. Also, doing more movements is just a really simple way of doing that. So today, workout was 3 different movements in a shorter time duration. So not only are we moving through different movement patterns, not building up volume and fatigue in one specific movement pattern, but the overall work that you're able to accomplish is lower just by the the structure of the workout. You can only do so much in 2 minutes, especially when we're cycling through 3 different movements, right? And then, so tomorrow, I'm looking at the workout. We're just doing kind of a single modality, so going against maybe that multiple movement pattern thing. But we're just going to be on the bike for the conditioning section. And so, one of the things that a lot of these machines allow us to do is it's big words here. So the bike is it's primarily, so the legs are obviously doing way more than the arms are. Yes, your arms are moving the handles, but there's not a lot of load going there. Your legs are the thing that's working in that concentric movement pattern. So the pushing down on the pedals. So when you're riding a bike that's strapped in, this is different, but on these, we don't have the straps on there. So the force is always pushing down, okay? In that type of movement, doesn't have as much breakdown in the muscle as the reverse of that, the eccentric, the controlling, where the muscle is lengthening. There's more breakdown that's happening there, and you're going to get more sore from that, right? So we're not doing a ton of that type of movement tomorrow, right? We can do a lot of pushing like that, really get the heart rate up, do some good aerobic work, while avoiding some of the soreness and breakdown that, a different movement pattern would cause, right? And the bike is in this sense, it's a fairly short range of motion, compared to a squat, for example, where you have a much longer range of motion. So it's a good tool to have to be able to work at really high output and, not have what you might call a high session cost, right? Total opposite of what these open workouts are going to be. They're generally very high session cost workouts, meaning in order to express the greatest amount of fitness, it's going to take a lot out of you, right? That's the really simple way to put it. So, we're just, I'm just going to be structuring the weeks around knowing that reality. So, our kind of most challenging workout, and really not even one that's going to truly crush you, was on Monday of this week. Repeated workout from last year. And, while it was bigger sets of, so it's kind of a chipper format, bigger sets of individual movements, the total volume of those was less than it might be if you were, moving more quickly between movements, right? So you're going to be limited by kind of a localized fatigue that's going to, naturally break up those sets and not really allow you to do a ton of breakdown unless you're super friggin' fit and can go unbroken on these movements and that sort of thing. But if it were smaller sets, you'd be able to accumulate more work, rest less, kind of move from one movement pattern to another, more when it's, complementary like that. So different aspects of it create a workout that, hey, it's tough, it's challenging, but in a way that's not going to leave you just, dead. Now, looking forward to, the next couple of weeks. So first workouts announced today, 2 more for the next 2 weeks. My goal is going to be, hey, on knowing both that coming off of the hard workout on Saturday, probably still a little bit beat up on Monday, and then knowing, hey, we're going to do this again. I'm going to kind of have two little peaks. So the biggest peak is going to be on those Saturdays, and then, hey, we'll take that into consideration for Monday, but then, hey, Tuesday probably be a little more challenging there, because that gives us a few more days to recover, right? We take Wednesdays off, and then, hey, get us set up to push again hard on Saturday, right? So again, taking that into consideration, we can't, the saying I like to use is, we can't run from the bear every day, right? We can't push ourselves to an extreme in a specific way that's going to cause tons of breakdown. We just can't do that every day. Now, that doesn't mean we can't use the tool of intensity every day. It's just going to look different, right? We're going to do it in a thoughtful way that, again, is not leaving you high and dry, right? So, if you're watching me live, I don't do this very well to know if people are on here or whatever, but if you're watching right now, you've got, hour and a half here before they do the official broadcast with all that stuff. It's a fun time if you've never watched that. But we'll get that one today, and it's exciting. It's an exciting day. It's leap day. It's extra day in the year. If you're in the fitness community, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, that is, the Arnold, what do they call it? I don't know. Big gym rat festival. That starts today. It's this weekend. They got some cool strongman stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. If you want to have some fitness entertainment this weekend, you can pull in some of that strongman competition from there, powerlifting competition there. Fun stuff you can nerd out about. Fitness nerds. What else do I got? I got some notes here. I made some notes because I got more. Oh. Super important. If you follow on Instagram, on the gram, might have seen a video I posted. I don't know, some day last week. Friday, I think it was. Doing something new here. Making a call out to some gentlemen. A men's only, exclusive, male only little cohort thing. We're going to start next week. So Monday, the 4th, March 4th. Yeah, Monday the 4th. Getting some guys involved, right? And the thing we're focusing on is, yes, the stuff that we always focus on, right? Fitness, nutrition, taking care of your health, taking care of your physical body. But the other thing that we are trying to lean into is, hey, gentlemen, we think it is a biblical requirement for you to have control of this area of your life, and to, for lack of better words, take dominion over this area, for you to be able to rule well over your physical state, for your roles as a man, specifically with honoring the body that you've been given, but also to be able to carry out other roles. This is true for everybody. Your body is the vehicle by which you do everything. We are embodied persons, and the ability for your body to function, for your brain to function, it is, that capacity flows out from the health of the organism. You are a creature, an organism, that has potential to accomplish work, and the health of that being, your being, man, it matters. It matters greatly. So, got some guys who are excited to dig into this stuff. And hey, if you are another one that hasn't talked to me yet, or if you know somebody that should talk to me, hey, reach out. You still got a few days here. We're gonna, get into class. We're gonna have some other stuff that these guys are doing outside of class, digging into more the nutritional side of stuff. And then on Saturday mornings, bright and early, before our 6 a.m. class on Friday mornings at 5 a.m. Yes, 5 a.m. on a Saturday. It's tough, but you can do it. We're going to dive into some of these topics a little further, have some good discussion around them, and really grow as learners, right, on our little transformation plan. Step one is awareness or assessment, right? Figure out where we're coming from, where we're starting at. But then step two is, hey, we got to learn. We have to be educated. We have to understand what we're doing, what we're aiming at, and then put it into action, right? So doing a lot of that educational side of stuff early Saturday mornings. Bring your coffee. That's great. Get the brain pumping nice and early in the morning. So, gosh, how have I been on here for 20 minutes already? Time flies when you're having fun, right? Yeah, that's it. That's it for today. So hit me up if you want to be a part of that men's group. Members and non-members, right? And all you dudes are welcome. But I specifically put out that call for 10 gentlemen. Ideally people who are not in here, because people who are in here, they're already taking some of this action, right? But I've invited all those guys into this as well. But we're trying to help out in a way that I know that conventional wisdom, like I said in that video, conventional wisdom suggests certain things that not only are not true, but like our normal life has not necessarily shown us what we need and what we need to be able to do. And there's a lot of bad information out there and all this kind of stuff. Alex and I have been gifted with a unique burden to care pretty deeply about this stuff, and we've spent a lot of time learning about it, experimenting on ourselves, applying stuff ourselves, and we want to be a resource to help other guys find success in this area too. So that's going to be fun. Really looking forward to that. As always, go to that old merch store and get yourself a shirt like this. It's been on my list and I just haven't done it yet. I'm updating some of that stuff. Kurt, if you're listening, you're probably not, but let's design some cool stuff. All right, I think that's it. Catch that open announcement. 2:00, whatever. Nobody's watching this right now. Hopefully you're watching. Hopefully you enjoy. If you do enjoy, whatever. I won't tell you what to do.